and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, and we are part of the Tap Out Wrestling Podcast Network. And this is the Impact Wrestling edition of the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. And this week we got a lot of things to go over, a lot of news this week. Bound for Glory is right around the corner. We have Bound for Glory Go Home show took place this week, so we have a lot to talk about. And of course, since we have a lot to talk about, I couldn't just do it on my own. I had to bring somebody aboard with me to help me along. So please help me welcome an old friend of mine from the Pro Wrestling Pit Stop. Please help me welcome to Pro Wrestling Personified, the psychologist, Jay Llewellyn. Jay, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you so much, Louis Carlin. It's a pleasure to be on here. My debut, first episode of the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
my
pleasure.
It's a long time coming, I guess.
Yeah, my pleasure. I appreciated you bringing me on the pit stop. So I thought I'd return the favor and bring you on Pro Wrestling Personified here for the Tap Out Wrestling Podcast Network. So it's good to have you. Not sure if anybody didn't hear my appearance on the pit stop. Me and Jay go back a long way. We actually started the Pro Wrestling Pit Stop together, and it's a great show. I know they're on a little hiatus right now, but they're going to be getting back together. And once they get back, it's highly recommended. You got to check them out. Pro Wrestling Pit Stop. Any news on when you guys might be getting back together? I know. The other co-host is Nick Whitworth. So I was wondering, is any chance anytime soon you guys are getting back together?
Well, I'd like the podcast air pretty soon, Louis. Right now, I know Nick's busy. He has family life, and he's got the rant on kayfabe today that he's concentrating on. So, we're going to get the pit stop back on the air sooner than later for sure. I got the itch, the bug. So.
Okay. All right. Well, if you ever need a co-host, man, I'll always be happy to fill in for Nick. So, feel free to ask me, man. But that's. Hey, you just have to pay me. I charge now. I have a fee. You have to charge me. You have to pay me $100 per appearance. Okay. I'm joking.
I'll talk to my accountant with that.
All right, my man. All right. So Impact, man. A lot of things going on, man. I guess we'll start with the news. I know we were discussing it a little bit earlier today, but Impact eyeing a relationship with Ring of Honor. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's a surprise, Louis, for sure. Ring of Honor, I mean, they've lost a lot of their top names to the WWE. And Impact, Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, TNA, you name the company what you want at this point. But they've lost, a lot of their top marquee talents over the years. So, in a way, when you think about it, somebody had mentioned this today on social media, I believe on Facebook, that might be wise for the two promotions, with a thinning roster, to maybe combine their talents together and see what they can come up with, because at the end of the day, they're still a long ways away from where the WWE is at. So, yeah, I think at this point, Ring of Honor, Impact, to just team up with other promotions is a smart move. And it's good, especially if you're trying to get eyeballs on the product for the first time. But I'm hoping something maybe at Bound for Glory, Louis, this Sunday might come out of this. If this is true, if Ring of Honor and Impact are going to work together, I'm hoping that maybe this is, because Impact is hyping Bound for Glory this Sunday in Ottawa as, an action-packed, must-see event. Their website, impactwrestling.com, is also talking about how this is going to be, an event that is going to make memories and people will, think about and talk about for years to come. That will happen this Sunday. So maybe Ring of Honor being involved, maybe that would be something interesting, a surprise that people are not expecting to happen this Sunday.
Sure. I personally, I don't think Ring of Honor is going to be involved at all with Bound for Glory. And I know you mentioned that Ring of Honor have lost a few of their stars to the WWE. But the thing with Ring of Honor is, they know how to generate new stars. So even though they've lost Adam Cole and Leo Rush and Donovan Dijak, they produce Flip Gordon and Coast to Coast, Shaquem Ali and Giovanni. So they know how to. I can't remember the Giovanni's last name, so I apologize for that. But they know how to come up with new stars. Losing stars in Ring of Honor, and I know there's a Ring of Honor podcast, so I don't want to talk too much about Ring of Honor. But they like I said, they generate new stars, and eyeing a relationship with Impact, eyeing a relationship with Ring of Honor. I think Impact really wants the relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, because Ring of Honor has that relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I know Scott D'Amore apparently was in Japan, and he apologized to Okada for the way he was quote unquote mishandled the last time he was in TNA. I think he was Samoa Joe's lackey in TNA in 2010. So that's what I think. I think they really want the New Japan Pro Wrestling relationship, but it could be interesting. They're two different styles of wrestling, Impact and Ring of Honor. It could be interesting. They could. You mentioned WWE. They could come together and form a major promotion and actually possibly challenge WWE. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm all for it, I guess, if you want to. But you mentioned. Do you think it would be like an invasion thing, like Ring of Honor would invade Impact, or Impact would invade Ring of Honor? How do you think that would play out?
Unless they just merge the talent together, but to still be separate companies. Maybe I don't know how you do that storyline wise, or you could just ignore the fact that two different companies are working together, hide that, and then just mix the talent. Just say, oh, this guy, this new talent is coming in, and maybe just have the fact that maybe you just throw Impact talent on Ring of Honor TV, vice versa. Ring of Honor talent go on Impact, and do it that way maybe. And I guess at any time you could always make a takeover storyline if that's the route they want to take, each company. But I mean, I kind of miss the days just solid feud storylines, lasting, a slow build up storyline to a pay-per-view. And I think Impact has that, and Ring of Honor also, where they don't have pay-per-view as much as WWE. I think they have that capability to give us a slow burn, so to speak, and get invested into characters and a storyline for a long period of time. And I think that would be a chance to help get over all their talent, in a way where WWE, you watch 3 hours of Raw, everything is just kind of, bing, bang, boom, everything's thrown at you.
Sure.
And just no consistency there. And I think that's where you have the trouble with a lot of guys in WWE, kind of just lost in the shuffle almost. I don't think there's a chance for people to really invest in a lot of their talent compared to, say, 10 years ago. And but I think that's kind of what's lost in wrestling as a whole, TV wrestling anyway, Lewis. But I think with Ring of Honor, and especially Impact, not they're kind of starting over in a way, their whole product, and the fact that they're not really on the road all the time at live events. A lot of their old pay-per-views are on TV now, kind of like Victory Road, for example. And Bound for Glory is one of those special pay-per-views they have, and it's in Canada for the first time. It's live on pay-per-view, $39.99, which is, a good deal for, it's going to be good action-packed wrestling. I like their card this Sunday, so. And, there's some good storylines building up to this event. So, I mean, unless you've been watching Impact for a while, you may not feel that way. But I think the TNA fan that's diehard fan of this product, I mean, they're definitely going to pay the $39.99 for sure this Sunday. And
did you just call them TNA?
I did. Pardon me. That's okay though, right? We all get it.
That's it. You're never going to be on this show again, man. Calling them TNA. They haven't been called TNA for a long time. No, I understand. They change the name all the time. It gets confusing. I get.
It did. Well, they were Global Force Wrestling the other week, and now
Yeah, now they're back to Impact. hopefully they'll just stay with Impact. But no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It makes some very valid points there. And I just want to say, going back, I mentioned Coast to Coast tag team, and I mentioned Giovanni. It's actually Leon St. Giovanni and Shaheem Ali. I just forgot about the guy's first name. I just wanted, because I'm trying to get those guys to interview those guys. I don't want them to get pissed off at me by me forgetting the name. But anyway, well, yeah, just good points there. Let's talk about these departures. A lot of departures happening this week. Rockstar Spud, Marshe Rockett, Brian Hebner, all the referees. Earl Hebner. Brian
Earl
Sister,
too, which is really shocking.
Yeah, the thing is, the reasoning, and everyone is getting on Twitter, and they're saying, "Oh, this is the end of Impact. It's the end of Global Force Wrestling, the end of Impact, because all these releases." They say just end the company already. But people aren't realizing that they're most likely moving up to Canada, and a lot of the talent don't want to move to Canada. They don't want to have to be in Canada for the tapings. So they're asking for their release. They're not being released by Impact. They're asking for their release because they don't want to go up to Canada, which is understandable if they and plus Impact says they rather use local referees when they're up here in Canada. So again, that's understandable. Losing a couple of referees is no big deal. It's no big deal.
No,
the only thing, the two that I am pissed off at, letting Rockstar Spud go because they didn't handle him properly, and one of my favorites, Marshe Rockett. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's been my favorite since they signed him. One of my favorites since they signed him in March 2016, but they never used him. They never used him properly, and I've discussed this with Marshe Rockett. I've developed kind of a relationship with him, and we've been speaking back and forth for a few months. And I don't know. I recently interviewed him, and he I brought up the question to him, asking. The interview was prior to him asking for his release. I brought the question up, asking him, "Do you think it's when is it time for Marshe Rockett to say enough's enough?" And he kind of alluded to the fact that it was coming soon, and it was coming soon. It happened a week after the interview. So, but he's going to wind up somewhere like Ring of Honor or NXT, and he's going to wind up being a big star. So what do you think about NXT? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. You mentioned.
No, that's okay. No, I think he'd fit well in NXT or Ring of Honor for sure. Like I was watching his match there on Explosion when he debuted there, and he took on Eddie Edwards in a match. And I like the way he even just sells. He takes the time to sell and stuff, and facial expressions and stuff in his matches. And because you see a lot of guys today find they just move from one spot to get their spots in almost, where he just simple kick to the face or whatever, or punch to the face, laying against a turnbuckle, and just takes the time to sell really well. I noticed that about him, and he's got a good stature to him, and really nice standing drop kick. But he's definitely got a lot of potential to go far, and with Triple H and NXT now, I mean a good recruitment right there. I'm sure they do a lot with him, polishing them, get him ready for even the main roster eventually.
I'd prefer to see him in Ring of Honor. I think he would be. I actually started a thing on Twitter, hashtag Ring of Honor signed Marshe Rockett. So I would love to see him. I'd love to see him in Ring of Honor. I think he would be fantastic in Ring of Honor. There's a lot of potential there. A lot of good opponents for him out in Ring of Honor. But he's getting plenty of bookings. He's not going to go hungry. That's for sure. He's being booked everywhere, and
exactly.
He's actually going to be in British Columbia next month for a few shows.
Wow.
Yeah, he's going to be
on Twitter with that.
What's that?
I actually see on Twitter there that he's set to appear for Global Professional Wrestling in Illinois there tomorrow.
Yeah, no, he's getting booked everywhere.
I
think I find it interesting. He's retweeting a lot of NWA stuff. I know we got Billy Corgan now owning the NWA. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him end up in the NWA.
Yeah. I think he's got some big plans, Billy Corgan, with NWA. And I mean, did you see the picture there on social media where he was in Nashville, front of the old TNA headquarters?
Oh yeah,
hinting maybe he's going to put an NWA office maybe in that same vicinity.
There's I think I read a rumor that they might be working with Impact Wrestling as well. So that's remained to be seen. But it's good to be a wrestling fan these days. A lot of potential out there. There's a lot of potential going on out there. So what's your opinion on Rockstar Spud? I've always been a big fan of Rockstar Spud. Again, another guy that they were using him fantastic for a while, but then they just seem to have stopped using. His last feud was with Hornswoggle, which was,
yes.
At first I didn't think it was any good, but Rockstar Spud made it work. But what's your opinion on Rockstar Spud?
I always liked Rockstar from the get-go. I mean, he's got a lot of charisma, which is, on tap for sure. It's just a skill that you really can't learn. You either have it in you, and unless you want to go and take acting lessons and learn to maybe get that out of you. But he just automatically has that charisma about him. He's not shy at all, just a loudmouth. And that complements, that kind of substitutes for his lack of size, in the wrestling business. So he's got a mouth, he can talk. He's a great instigator, shit disturber, so to speak. So he's like great manager, so to speak. But, I think he's good for that. And, I think there's a place for him for sure, in Impact. I like the stuff they did with Dixie Carter and him, Madame Dixie and all that.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
He was fantastic. He was great, but then I don't know if he just lost interest or actually, you know what? I think I read somewhere that he had work visa issues. Now that I think about it, I think I read that about a week ago that he had work visa issues, and that's probably, now that I think about it, that's probably the reason why we haven't seen him in Impact Wrestling. So I think that I'll think about it. I forgot I didn't write that down on my notes, so I think there was work visa issues I read about. So that's probably why we haven't seen him. See, I got to be prepared, man. I got to be prepared. I'm a little unprepared there on the Rockstar Spud, so I apologize to everyone out there. But so now I want to talk about a guy that's having a tryout, and I think I think you can talk about him a little better than I can because you've seen him live a couple of times. Markus Burke is getting a tryout with Impact Wrestling, Atlantic Canada superstar. I know he's very talented. I've seen a lot of videos of him on YouTube, and I know the guy is extremely talented. But you've seen him live, so I think you could speak. You could speak better. You're more of a better person to speak how great Markus Burke is than I am. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Markus Burke and why you feel maybe he belongs in Impact Wrestling?
Well, Markus Burke, I first discovered Markus Burke, folks, back in 2014 in the Wrestle Center promotion out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I remember seeing him. He had the vegan gimmick, and he walked to the ring and he sticks hands up and go vegan like that. I don't know if you can YouTube him, and you can kind of see that probably in some of his entrances in some of the YouTube videos. But and he did a Tough Enough contest as well years ago. Try for Tough Enough, and he did this vegan promo. But he's kind of like the whole vegan thing. Like, he still calls himself the Vegan Warrior, Lewis, but he's kind of laid off the whole character as much. It's not as much. He's more. I find he's more into the wrestling aspect right now. But he's getting a lot of bookings. This guy, Markus Burke, based out of New Brunswick, Canada. He was trained by Emile Dupree, wrestling legend, of course, father of former WWE Tag Team Champion Rene Dupree. And he had an amazing I think it was an IHWC title match. It was a ladder match for the Wrestle Center promotion at Halifax, Canada. Back in, I think it was 2014. It was the summer of June 2014. He had a ladder match for the the vacant title. It was a new title they introduced in the promotion. Him versus another student of Emile Dupree, Julian Young. They just stole the show that night, Lewis. And it's funny because I think the same card, I think it was Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels. They were in the main event, I believe, and nobody talked about those two. They talked about Markus Burke, Julian Young ladder match for the new IHWC title. And, those guys really, they told a great story. They busted their body, and the fans were on their feet, and they loved it. And it wasn't a silent crowd whatsoever. Everybody was on their feet the whole match. So, But that was kind of the starting point for me, watching Markus Burke as a fan. And, he's got to wrestle a lot of international superstars since 2014 that I've seen, You can go back. Just last year for Ultimate Championship Wrestling out of Halifax, he wrestled Alberto, the former Alberto Del Rio, now Alberto El Patron in Impact Wrestling.
Sure.
And, they had a really, really good match. And it's funny because when you watch Alberto live and you watch like International Star live, like compared to, say, watching him on TV, you just, you watch Alberto, with his punches and kicks, and it's like, geez, man, just looks so legit and stuff when you're up close, seeing somebody like that. But they had an incredible match, him and Markus. And then I think Markus also wrestled John Morrison, of course, Johnny Impact now in Impact Wrestling. He wrestled him as well in Wrestle Center and a couple of years ago, I believe. And, he's been to South Africa. He's been the World Wrestling Professional Champion over there. He's went down to the United States. He went down to Las Vegas the other year, wrestled for Sin Bodie's, wrestling promotion down there, Freak Show Wrestling, and, he took some, I think he had tryout as well at Ring of Honor. It was last year. And, he's getting a lot of wealth of experience on the road. I think he actually did a Destiny World Wrestling show at Toronto.
Yes, he did.
And he had a great match with Brent Banks from Smash Wrestling, actually, at the last Innovative Hybrid Wrestling show in Moncton, New Brunswick. I never saw a lot of Brent Banks, but I really liked that match with him, Markus Burke. What were you going to say, Lewis?
No, I was gonna say Burke's been all over the world. He's just not regulated to Atlantic Canada. He's been all over the world. He's extremely talented. I'm not sure who his opponent's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be on TV, but I think
Explosion.
I think it was I think Matt Hardy wrestled Markus Burke like 2 years ago, and he insisted that Impact Wrestling sign him right away. So I think Markus Burke is going to pass this test. I think he's going to get signed by Impact, and I think Markus Burke is going to wind up being in Impact Wrestling. And hopefully, they don't pull a Marche Rocket on him and just sign him and not use him, because I hope they sign him and use him, because Markus Burke is extremely talented. And I was reading that possibly Marco Estrada might be getting a tryout as well. Saw that on Twitter, so he might be getting it. So they're looking to sign Canadian talent, which is good, because I know they're moving they're going to be moving up to Canada to build their TV tapings. Hopefully, my boy JP Sims could get a little tryout there. So so
that's an advantage too.
Hopefully, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's an advantage too for Markus Burke. I mean, Markus Burke, if he can get signed with Impact Wrestling, he can stay and and still work the independent scene in Canada. He could still help Ultimate Championship Wrestling out like he's been helping, and he can kind of help the up and coming Canadian talent in the East Coast of Canada that he's really passionate about, helping out Covey Christ and Chip Chambers, maybe Sabotage, some of these younger wrestlers that are breaking in the maritime scene right now, Lewis. So it gives him a chance to, be a veteran in that way and help out kind of with his experience, he's taken some of that world experience he's already gathered, and I'll be very shocked if he doesn't get on with Impact Wrestling. I'm really pulling for him to get on there. He's got that strive. He's just a hard worker. He's got a lot of, he's eager. He's driven. That's a big thing with Markus Burke. He's driven. He just doesn't say no. And I'm hoping the Impact Wrestling management are going to see that when they give him a tryout this week in Ottawa. But it's a long time coming for him to get on with a national company. Get that TV exposure that he needs, where you don't get that with an independent wrestling company.
Well, I can tell you're very, very passionate about Markus Burke. You seem to be a big fan. You know a lot about him, so I could tell that you're really pulling for Markus Burke to get signed by Impact Wrestling. So hopefully it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we were talking about departures, possible signings. I know the Impact Wrestling was talking to Ricochet, his girlfriend Tessa, or is it wife Tessa? I think it's his wife Tessa
Her
Blanchard?
girlfriend, boyfriend, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Tessa Blanchard possibly coming. I know Ricochet. I think his Lucha Underground contract states he can't. He is a non-compete until January 16th, so I think he has to wait for that to clear. But I heard Tessa Blanchard, who's very talented, is going to be debuting on the next TV tapings for Impact. So that could be. I know you stated that you're a Tessa Blanchard fan, so they're really building up that their female division in Impact Wrestling with recently signing Taya Valkyrie and now Tessa Blanchard coming in. So they're really their female division is really going to be I know it hasn't been that good in the last few months, but it's starting to pick up, and they're getting some good talent in there. So it has potential to be a really great division for Impact Wrestling. What do you think about? Go ahead, buddy.
I think any criticism from the fans on the internet about Impact Wrestling, I think you got to hold on just a little bit longer, because honestly, I think they're creeping back up. I know they had a lot of problems, as if people heard online about management, the whole thing with Jeff Jarrett and Anthem Entertainment. But I really think when you look at the product as far as like the talent and card for this Sunday at Bound for Glory, Lewis, it really looks good on paper. And I know one match I'm looking forward to is the X Division match for the 6 talented guys in that match. So you have a mixture of different types of matches, which is going to be good, And you got, of course, the 3-way women's or the knockout match between, Allie, Gail Kim, and Sienna for the women's title. And, of course, Gail Kim's last, Bound for Glory. So.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. We're going to do our predictions at the end of the show, so we'll get into Bound for Glory. So I know you mentioned it was sold out, so that's a good thing that they sold out Bound for Glory.
Yeah,
it must have been the Impact Pizza that they debuted. People want to show up and have a slice of that Impact Pizza. I don't know if you heard the show last week.
Eh?
I don't know if you heard the show last week, but I went on a thing about Impact Pizza. So
did you?
Yeah. So I was you didn't even listen to the show last week. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, boo! Hey,
yeah, good job.
Good job. Eventually, you know that.
not even listening to the show.
Here, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, cool. So, yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of people need to hold off because everyone is so quick to jump on them when there's a departure here and there, but they're not when they're talking about signing wrestlers. Everyone is like hush hush. I mean, no one's even talking about Markus Burke's tryout, and no one's even talking about. I see little not too many tweets about Ricochet and Tessa Blanchard. So, like you said, people need to calm down. The referees will let go. Big deal. They'll get other referees. It's not the end of the world. Impact Wrestling will be just fine. So, everyone needs to relax on Twitter. And, it gets to a point where I'm starting to respond to these people, and they're getting upset with me. So I think I'm gonna stop responding. I don't want to get into any Twitter fights with anyone. But if anyone's listening right now, just relax. Impact Wrestling is going to be just fine. They're not folding, and Bound for Glory is going to be it's going to be a halfway decent show. I'm not going to say a great show, but we'll get into that soon. But we had an episode. We had let's get into the actual show, the go home show this week. The Impact. So what did you think of the show as a whole?
I thought it was a really good show. As far as I know you talked about. I don't think you're not really a huge fan, are you, Lewis, of the kind of showing Border City wrestling shows, like some of the stuff that's out of the Impact Zone? Are you? Are you more?
No. I don't give you. I am. I'm a fan. I like the fact that that they're showing Impact Wrestling. See, you didn't listen to the show last week, Jay. So you just proved again that you didn't listen to my show last week. But I'm just joking with you. Man.
I know, man.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it. It shows the Impact Wrestling stars, in that it's truly a global organization, that they're appearing in organization and promotions all over the world, in Canada, in Japan, in Mexico. So I'm a big fan of that. Yep. I'm a big fan of it. What I'm not a fan of is, showing these matches on the Go Home show to Bound for Glory, and these matches really don't have anything to do with Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
So that's one I'm not a fan of. Although the first match, the Border City Wrestling match, Rosemary, it was Rosemary and Allie against Sienna and Casey Spinelli. Who's
right.
I know who Casey Spinelli is, but the average wrestling fan who watches Impact would be wondering, why is she involved in a match? We got a Go Home show to Bound for Glory. Okay, Allie,
there, Louis.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. No, I think the problem there, Casey Spinelli on Impact Programming, is that nobody knows her. It's just a random wrestler in a match with, people who know Allie and Rosemary and Sienna, but you have, Casey Spinelli, of course, she's on Smash Wrestling. People, of course, that don't watch Smash Wrestling out of Toronto. But and speaking of Casey Spinelli, she actually was scheduled to wrestle Madison Miles and Maritimes at Destiny World Wrestling in Halifax this past August, Louis, but Destiny World Wrestling canceled that show. That a match never happened. But the only thing I don't like about that is, especially if you don't introduce the characters first, because she's not like on the Impact roster, right? So it's just a match from technically another promotion that you're airing on, another company's, network, right?
Sure.
TV show. So that's kind of one problem I would see I guess, if you want to nitpick really on the Impact Wrestling this week. But I liked it, I guess, in a way where it was just a different atmosphere in the Impact Zone, a four-sided ring. I'm sorry, I'm still not on board with the whole six-sided ring. I do like the traditional ring more.
Okay, fair enough.
I think if you have a good product, you have good storylines, good wrestlers, personalities, athleticism in the ring, mixed together, I think you'll win the fans over, how creative all that is. But other than that, I like how they go around the globe, different, Mexico, Japan, Canada, Impact Zone. So I like it that way. I think I've heard a lot of people on social media like that idea of how, they're going all over the globe, showing different matches from different, countries, cities. So I hope they keep it up. But I get your point though, Louis. Go Home show. They should really be focusing on selling the Bound for Glory pay-per-view this Sunday.
Yeah. The thing is, I was reading that they ran out of first run material, and I don't know if you're aware that Taryn Terrell, she decided, that she's going to pursue other career options. So this was actually supposed to be a 4-way match at Bound for Glory, but she decided that she's going to pursue other career options. So everything that they taped with the knockouts involved Taryn Terrell, so they weren't able to show that on TV. They had to cut all that out. So they ran out of first run material, which is another reason why they're showing some of these matches. Which makes sense, but this we'll keep on this match, the opening match. The match was a good match. It was a decent match. It was a decent wrestling match from Border City Wrestling, and it did kind of play into the 3-way match at Bound for Glory, where Allie did get the victory over Sienna. So it did kind of play into that a little bit, but. One thing I don't like is, and I'm going to talk about this again later, is, Jeremy Barash and Josh Matthews, talking as if this is a live match when the match was taped weeks and weeks ago. So they did that. They were doing that throughout the show. But again, decent match. But again, it doesn't really play into Bound for Glory. So that was the only problem I had. And a surprisingly big crowd there for Border City Wrestling. That was a big crowd there.
Pretty good production for the size of the crowd, it was nice, kind of that dark atmosphere, kind of reminded the old school match at the Boston Garden, Maple Leaf, Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens, just the whole dark atmosphere. I kind of like that a little bit, but even the entrance, the production was pretty decent, and it just seemed like an energetic crowd, for the size of the place. But I was pretty big fan of it, and I also liked how Allie got the win too as well, because of a nice German suplex from Rosemary to Sienna, and Allie sneak up to get the win for their team. But like Allie, I like Allie as a character. I think she's great. She's over for sure with the fans and Impact. I think because of her character, though, I'm not a huge fan of her in-ring ability. I think that's just because of her character. I'd say her character, kind of like Stone Cold back in the day, his character, he'd use his character more to get him over than the actual stunning Steve Austin athleticism that he had years prior. Of course, Allie seems to be different, say, in Smash Wrestling, but kind of has almost the same character as Impact, but you see a different side of her. What's your thoughts on Allie, like, in the ring? Like I think of Velvet Sky. Velvet Sky, of course, a very attractive woman, but I'm not a fan of her in-ring ability. I find with Allie, the same idea. Love her character, but it's just she's not like, say, a Sienna or Gail Kim to me in the ring. That's just me. That's my opinion.
I'm going to have to disagree there. I think Allie's very good in the ring. I think Allie, before she came to Impact, she was Cherry Bomb, and she's very talented. She has a good skill set. Of course, her character is different than her character was as Cherry Bomb. She's a quirky character. Yes. So I guess she's got to. Well, I guess I can see what you're saying. She's got to.
Yeah.
She's got to use that quirky skill set, so it's not as. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's not as good as the non-quirky character, I guess. But But no, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Allie. I actually, going into this match, I know Gail Kim was on, and she's talking about it's her last bound for glory, and the push is on for her, and hopefully she wins the title one last time. But I think more people are rooting for Allie to win the title than Gail Kim, and that's my opinion, because I think the Allie character is really over, and that's how I feel. And I don't. What did you think? We'll stick on this. What they had that video package with Gail Kim, Sienna, and Allie, which I thought was terrific. What did you think about that video package? That video package quadrupled my interest in the match. How did you feel about that video package?
I think that's one thing I like about Impact Wrestling is their highlight videos, their vignettes. I really think they put a lot of effort into those, and I find they do a great job of selling the match. They did the same thing with OVE, I thought, as well, with LAX. Same idea. I think the same thing with the women in that three-way match this Sunday. Just having the heartfelt speech from Gail Kim, saying how this could be, this is probably her last bound for glory. She wants to, go out on top, basically. And then you've got, of course, the very arrogant Sienna talking, and you've got Allie, and I liked it, It shows the highlights of the whole interaction, the timeline, and then has, a separate kind of interview with each of the participants in the match. So kind of almost like a UFC-style interview as well, which you do see a lot of in wrestling. WWE do a lot of them now as well, especially with people that are not as great on the mic, promos and stuff. It's a little different when you sit down and interview and be more yourself, and I think when you're in a live crowd doing a promo, you have to amplify yourself, I think, it's a little more probably on the nerves. I just think you have to be a little different as you talk compared to sitting down just with, a camera on you and not a crowd watching you kind of deal, live anyway. But I like this. I like actually how Impact does those highlight videos more than WWE does in some ways. And I really liked how they've done for a few of their matches, for Bound for Glory this Sunday as well. But they did a terrific job. A lot of video packages this week, and I think they did a great job with them. Like you said, the OVE LAX video package was pretty good. I liked Eli Drake showing up at LAX's clubhouse. And Chris Adonis has the guacamole and the tortilla chips with him, and I thought that was great. Great interaction between Conan and Eli Drake, and I hope to see more of that in the future. That was great. Eli Drake, I think when we were doing the pit stop, I think you liked Eli Drake right off the bat, because Eli Drake was introduced in a faction, I think, with Drew Galloway. And I think I remember you mentioning that you were an Eli Drake fan right off the bat. So
So Eli Drake is fantastic. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, like dummy. Yeah, like the whole catchphrase he does there. It's just a fact of life. He's just quick. He's just quick on the ball and the mic. He reminds me a lot. He's not The Rock, people, when I say this, but he does remind me a bit of The Rock. How fast he talks and how has a quick one. He's just very clever when he talks. Just the whole backstage thing with Dutch Mantel as well there.
Oh, yeah.
Impact.
Yeah.
And, he's got a lot of potential. And, if you're going to choose a world champion for Impact right now, he's definitely the right candidate for sure. You want a guy that can talk and very confident, as a champion. And I'm looking forward to him and Johnny Impact on Sunday as well. I think I might have to, as I scroll through the card, Lewis, I'm thinking I'm going to have to dish out $39.99 to Impact Wrestling. It's just got to reward myself somehow, right?
Yeah, there you go. I'm definitely going to watch it. It's going to be a great show. But
Absolutely.
So let's jump to the main event since we're on Eli Drake. The main event was LAX and Eli Drake against Johnny Impact and OVE. First off, I love Eli Drake coming out with the red bandana around his head. I
like how he wore it too. I loved how he wore the bandana. He wore it. It was just very funny looking too. But
tremendous main event, absolutely tremendous. Great post-match brawl as well. Really brought a lot of heat to Bound for Glory, and it added the revenge factor in there for Johnny Impact. Now you're looking for Johnny Impact to get his revenge against Eli Drake. Of course, he took the cushioning off the ring and exposed the wood boards and hit his gravy train finisher right onto it. So I absolutely loved it. I loved the main event. That was my favorite part of the whole show. Was the main event. So what did you think about tearing up the ring and exposing the boards like that and just dropping him on his head?
Yeah, like I say, you've got that revenge plot for Johnny Impact now as we're leading into Sunday's Bound for Glory in Ottawa, Canada. So, a good go-home ending, to sell, okay, now you got to watch Bound for Glory, see what Johnny Impact and what OVE does, to get back retaliation for the ending of Impact.
Sure.
But, even like the backstage stuff with OVE and LAX and stuff. And right from the get-go, Johnny Impact was, blindsided by Eli Drake at the beginning of that main event on Impact. And that's kind of how it started there. But, the whole, you don't see that a whole lot in wrestling TV. But I liked how they rolled up, the canvas, Eli Drake delivered the gravy train on the boards in the ring. And he kind of just started taunting him and, grabbing him by the hair and just, slapping him and talking trash to him, basically, while he's laid out on the boards in the ring. And it kind of just went off the air at that point. It was a good way, Now that's good versus evil. If you're going to sell a pay-per-view, good versus evil, there you go. You got the evil Eli Drake, poor Johnny Impact laid out, getting thumping. Now, people want to pay to see Johnny Impact come back and get his revenge, right? And,
sure. That was again a great heated ending. Like you said, great way to end the show. A great way to try to sell the pay-per-view. So again, favorite part of the whole show. They did that right. And even the LAX OVE, brawling to the back, was terrific. So great stuff. It really, anyone who was on the fence on whether they were going to order Bound for Glory or not, if they saw that, they're most likely going to order Bound for Glory now, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
But we also went to Japan. To Pro Wrestling Noah. Moose was teaming with Okabayashi, and they took on Nakajima and Kitamaya. So what did you think of that match? I thought it was a great match, but again, it had nothing to do with Bound for Glory, but I thought it was a terrific match. What did you think of that match?
It was, I liked it. I'm not used to the Japanese crowd. Like I say, when you're a wrestling fan, from North America, the crowd, of course, is a little more boisterous and a little more opinionated, so to speak. So they're very quiet, laid back, the Japanese crowds. So I'm not really used to that. So, but, I thought Moose, this, Moose, 6'6", 290 pounds, flying around like he does is impressive. Nice drop kick there and agility from Moose in that match. There was one point, Lewis, where he did a nice moonsault nip-up, which I thought was pretty cool for his size. But and it was funny, too, during this match, Matthews and Borash, of course, plugging the new Global Wrestling Network app. And there was a nice clothesline this match, too, by Oka Viachi there, yep. Mr. Seattle. And, I like how the finisher there, Oka Viachi finishes off Mr. Seattle with a nice top rope splash for the win. So, it wasn't an overly long match, but, it was cool to see them go across to Japan and show us, what's going on over there, and just a different atmosphere for sure.
Yeah, it would have been nice, though, Moose going into Bound for Glory. It would have been nice to see him actually get the win for his team, but it's kind of like he was just part of the match, and you get the win for his team. So again, they ran out of first run material, so I guess they figured they would show this. I mean, he looked great in the match, but it would have been nicer to see him actually get the win for his team. But one thing that, again, I alluded to this earlier, Josh Matthews, again, trying to convince the people watching on TV that this is live that was happening as they were talking about it, says that this match, I said, this match taking a lot out of Moose. Will he be ready for Sunday? Also, as soon as his match is over, he's got to jump on a plane and fly to Ottawa. But no, he doesn't. This match happened, weeks and weeks ago. So I hate when they do that. I hate when they insinuate that the match is alive. I think it just insults people's intelligence because it's not live. That's my opinion.
Kind of
like it kind of pisses me off when they do
that.
It's
Remember when WWF at one time, when they used to tape their TV tapings like WF Superstars, and Vince was back doing commentary back then, they used to tape weeks in advance, and then it would air on TV weeks later. Almost the same idea. You'd see Vince and Jesse Ventura, and they weren't really there live. They just, it was taped, and they had them kind of like in, the foreground, so to speak. But it's almost like that, almost emulating their live there, but they're really not. They're probably just in the studio, and then.
They were in the studio. They're watching it in the studio, watching it on a television, and they're announcing it while they're watching it on television. They make it seem like they're there and that they're live. It's to me, I don't know how other people feel about it, but to me, it bugs me every time they do that a lot. It just bugs me when they do that.
We get spoiled. We do get spoiled now when you go live, like when there's a live TV wrestling show. The fact that, they're live in the arena. I know your mentality. You're used to that. It's hard to go back in time and get used to like taping, a tape show, and then editing it to a point, where they feel like, you feel like the actual commentators are there live. So, but they did a lot of plugging, didn't they, this week? Of course, the Global Wrestling Network app. So, it's the Global Wrestling. I know I looked into it. They have a lot of course, a lot of Impact, a lot of old TNA stuff, but they also have Border City Wrestling, and they have Smash Wrestling. Really?
They're supposed to be adding like stuff from AAA and Pro Wrestling Noah. So once they start adding that content down there,
that's smart.
It's $7.49. I am considering getting it. I don't have it yet, but once they start adding that stuff, Border City Wrestling might be actually worth it because it seems like it's a good product, But all the Smash Wrestling on there, I subscribe to Smash Wrestling TV, so I get all the Smash Wrestling episodes. So, but they have an opportunity to have a really good network there, and so hopefully they'll add more content. And a lot of people are complaining that the WWE, they include their pay-per-views. Why won't Impact include the pay-per-views? Impact has like 2 pay-per-views a year. Who cares?
Exactly.
It's just 2 pay-per-views. If they even have 2, it might only be 1. So you're not really missing anything. So just people need to calm down with that. And I went on a rant. I went on a rant on that about 2 weeks ago. But people need to calm down.
They gotta try to make money somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Dan Lambert cuts a pretty good promo. Also, what'd you think of Dan Lambert's promo?
Yeah, I really like that whole American Top Team stuff going on. Dan Lambert, how he's like just crapping on the world of pro wrestling, saying how he's going to expose pro wrestling, for the fraud that it is. I like how they did the vignettes too, Lewis, where, Dan Lambert quoted as saying, I love wrestling, but I'm asking them to destroy it, so to speak. But I love his passionate, loudmouth promos. And he really gets fired up on the mic, doesn't he? And they're just mocking the fans and telling them that they're mindless sheep. I really like this. But that's going to be an interesting match. Of course, Stephen Bonner and Moose against King Mo and Bobby Lashley in the Six Sides of Steel, Bound for Glory this Sunday.
Yeah, I originally was not interested in this angle at all. The whole American Top Team against Impact Wrestling. I didn't care for it at all. But the last 2 weeks with the promos from Dan Lambert, or the last 3 weeks, Dan Lambert shocked the hell out of me with those promos. I was like, holy crap, this guy can cut a promo. And I instantly became interested in the feud and because of those promos. So he did a terrific job.
He's selling the match very well. Like, he's doing a great job at the angle, like, big time.
Yeah, no, so I would have liked to see Bobby Lashley grab the mic and say a few words because he's improved as a talker. But Dan Lambert did a wonderful job, man. And then we had the No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you remember when they were in the sparring room and they had where they're in the gym and stuff? And did you notice how Bobby Lashley had his head down when Dan Lambert was talking about how, Bobby Lashley is exclusive to MMA now. He's not in your circus world anymore kind of deal. And, Bobby Lashley is the prototype for our business, Basically, he's got the framework kind of deal. He's got, the explosiveness, along with, the muscularity, which a lot of guys don't have in the sport. And he's got it all, And with our training, and just crapping, just saying how wrestling's a circus. I just really liked it. But I noticed that as he's saying all this, Dan Lambert was saying all this, Bobby Lashley has his head down. To me, this is something's going to happen to the point where he still loves wrestling. Something may happen out of this where he doesn't side with America's Top Team. Do you kind of see that happening?
I was thinking about that also. I was thinking something at Bound for Glory where he has a change of heart and America's Top Team jumps in and they're beating down Stephen Bonner and Moose, and Bobby Lashley suddenly has a change of heart and he helps Moose and he clears the ring of America's Top Team. That's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen at Bound for Glory. Something of that. It was somebody, I don't know, something's going to happen where, I don't know, maybe Lambert will threaten Bobby Lashley saying, you better not screw this up. You better win or else, something like that. And Lashley will, come to the aid of Moose and triumphantly return to Impact Wrestling.
Or if they pull like the Hulk Hogan Rock kind of card there where, maybe if, Lashley and King Mo lose and, Dan Lambert blames Lashley, for the loss and slaps him in the face kind of deal.
Oh, okay.
And then when he tries to go after Dan Lambert, maybe he gets jumped.
That's something like that is because he's not leaving Impact Wrestling, Bobby Lashley. So I could see something like that. That's a good point. His team will lose. Lambert will probably slap Bobby Lashley or something, and Lashley will spear Lambert or something, and he'll return to Impact Wrestling. So what did you think of the X Division match? I don't know why they were giving away. It's a good match, but it's the same match we're gonna have at Bound for Glory, and they're giving it away for free. So I was a little confused there. But what did you think? What did you think of the match? Good match to showcase the X Division stars. Of course, Desmond Xavier wins the match, pins Trevor Lee. But what did you think? I thought it was a good match. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was an excellent match for television. Like I said, as I was watching this and jotting a few notes down, why are they showing, this pay-per-view match we're going to see this Sunday in Ottawa on free television? I guess you could say Impact Wrestling, they're starting from the ground up. Maybe they want, as much eyeballs and interest in their product as possible. So maybe they get away with this, by doing this. But the same token, if I watch it for free on TV, why would I pay $39.99 to watch it, a few days later?
Of course.
That's what you got to think about in a way. But then again, if the match is good enough, diehard fans are, they're going to probably pay for it. But I think a consumer, just an everyday consumer, if they can see it for free, mentality maybe like, why am I going to pay $39? And I think that in general, TV wrestling today, Lewis, seems to be, they show a lot of reruns, a lot of pay-per-view matches that that they're already on pay-per-view on free television. I know it must be hard to go back in time and just maybe have I almost think they should have more enhancement matches. Not all enhancement matches, mix it up maybe. Have a few main feature matches, but then have say a jobber versus somebody that's you want to push whatever, as a guy you want to get over, right, with the crowd.
Sure.
I think it's hard to bring somebody new up to the roster and you have them in a match with another top guy. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and even if the new guy, I've seen this happen a lot, a new guy that debuts and he loses, but it's a strong match still. Still the point. I mean, it's not the same if it's not the same, say, if he demolished a jobber. Sorry if I offend somebody that's listening who maybe a former wrestler and talking about them, but
you're offending a lot of people. You've offended me twice already by saying you haven't, by showing that you haven't watched the show. I mean, listened to the show, and now you're offending all the wrestlers out there. Well, what are you trying to do? Get me thrown off the air? What are you doing, man?
I don't know, man. I'm just a bad man, I guess.
You're gonna have Nick and Myron at the Top That Wrestling Podcast Network. They're gonna terminate my contract now because of all this. Thanks a lot. You're gonna have to bring me back to the pit stop.
I'm a bad influence, folks. I don't mean to be. Lewis had nothing to do with what I said. Point that out.
Well, we'll have to edit some stuff out. No, but I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking about the X Division match?
Yeah, it was a really good match, like I say, and if we saw that on free television, imagine what we're going to see this Sunday in Ottawa. I really like how at the start, Garza Jr. is a really good personality as well. I like he has a bit of charisma as well, and I like at the start there was a nice suicide dive by P.D. Williams to Matt Sydal on the outside. And I liked the sequence of moves, and, I liked how everybody, kind of got a lot of their spots in, but it wasn't overly fast, but it was enough to make the match exciting, so to speak. Nice standing moonsault by Matt Sydal to Desmond Xavier there in the match. And another nice spinning heel kick by Sydal to the X Division champion, Trevor Lee, as well, I liked. But one spot I really liked in this match, Lewis, was I don't see a lot, was kind of like a power slam and power bomb combination by Garza Jr. on P.D. Williams and Desmond Xavier. And and then right after that, I think it was at that point Matt Sydal was the victim of the Canadian Destroyer.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, that was broke by Desmond Xavier. And very good athlete, beautiful athleticism by Desmond Xavier as well. And I like how he goes to the outside landing on his feet. That was pretty cool to see. I like the ending, too, pretty close to the ending there. Desmond Xavier, of course, I like how he pins Trevor Lee, kind of like with a Pele kick, so to speak, almost like a backflip Pele kick in the match. And, I thought it was a really good match for free television, for sure. But, pinning the X Division champion Trevor Lee, does that mean, I don't know if that means Desmond Xavier is going to be triumphant at Bound for Glory in the match. What do you think now about Bound for Glory?
I personally think having him win means that match means he's not going to win the title.
No, exactly.
So I'm hoping Trevor Lee retains the title because Trevor Lee is one of my favorites, and they should they should definitely revolve the X Division around Trevor Lee. But I personally think that there's too many people involved in this match. First of all, Impact has done a horrible job in promoting this match. They did a terrible job in building in the build for this match. There's been no build at all for the match. They just threw everybody together. But I don't know if you want. Desmond Xavier won the Super X Cup a few months back, and he was supposed to be the new number one contender. And they should have been building up a Trevor Lee versus Desmond Xavier one-on-one match for the X Division Championship. I think it should have just been Trevor Lee against Desmond Xavier, or even versus Desmond Xavier and Matt Sydal, just a three-way match. We don't need Sanjay Dutt. We don't need Petey Williams in there. No, it's just too much involved. And
overcrowded,
It's really overcrowded. It's not even a what do they call it? Ultimate X match. It's just an X Division title match, and it's just it's going to be too much going on, and I don't know.
They should have had this as an Ultimate X match instead of if they're going to just do a one-on-one or just do a basic wrestling match with no gimmick match. They should have just did, like you say, no more than just a one-on-one or a triple threat match. I think that's
that's what they should have done. I mean, they said it's going to be. Yeah. I mean, we've seen the match already. We've seen what these guys could do. It was good. It was a good match, but I don't know. So I guess we have to see this match again Sunday. It's what are they going to do differently that they haven't done that they didn't do yesterday on Impact? Not much at all. So anyway, but anyway,
there's no cage or
Yeah, so I don't know. I really wish it was just Lee against Xavier or Lee against Sydal. It would have been better if it was a one-on-one match. Or they could have had like a tournament leading up to this, like to see who the number one contender is for the X Division title, and they could have had Sydal, Williams, Dutt, Xavier, Garza Jr. all involved in that. And but again, the build was horrible for this. It's kind of they're supposed to be treating the X Division like it's an important division, but they haven't been doing that at all. So, but what can you do? Mm-hmm. What can you can't do anything about it.
I know.
Anyway, let's get into Bound for Glory. Let's run out and more thing. They had Global Forged, which is kind of like they're Tough Enough. I don't know if you. Hakeem Zayn wins Global Forge, and he's going to be showing up at Bound for Glory. I wonder, I wouldn't mind seeing Hakeem Zayn, who is a Canadian wrestler, take on Markus Burke. Markus Burke,
that would be great.
That would be a good match, actually.
It would be, even if they had it on Explosion, their show before Impact. That's what I'm kind of guessing. Do you think maybe Markus Burke gets to try it on Explosion? Not necessarily unless he goes on Impact.
You'll probably see him on Explosion. I wouldn't be surprised if his opponent is actually Hakeem Zayn. But we'll see him on Explosion. Whoever he takes on, I hope he wins, whoever they put up against, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think you're right. I think we're going to see Markus Burke, which will be fantastic, though, to see him on Explosion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Got to keep our eyes open for that.
Oh yeah.
I think we touched upon everything on the episode. I don't think we missed any of the matches. I think we got everything. Oh, they had the Grado Joseph Park video package, but that match I have zero interest in. I don't know how you feel about Abyss against Grado in a Monster Ball match, but I have zero interest in that match.
I still like Abyss, the character, the whole Monsters Balls brutality, but him versus Grado, I mean. Yeah, Grado versus Abyss. Yeah, it doesn't stand out. Like, what kind of a threat is Grado going to be to the Monster Abyss?
Yeah, it's not. And if Grado loses, his work visa will be terminated, and he must leave the U.S. But the match is taking place in Canada, so who cares? And if he loses the match, then he just stays in Canada. What's the big deal?
No, exactly.
The whole thing. I was if you had listened to the last few shows, Jay, I was pushing actually Abyss. I was pushing Abyss. I was saying they should have had Abyss against Congo Kong. Would have been a fantastic match.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's the match I was hoping for. Abyss against Congo Kong, but Congo Kong hasn't been seen in a few weeks either. So I don't know what they're doing with him.
Another great talent. Hopefully everything's okay with him.
Yeah,
what about,
hopefully.
Actually, what about Team AAA versus Team Impact? Texano, Pagano.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's run down the matches and we'll give our prediction.
Yeah.
We'll start with that. Team Impact: Eddie Edwards, Ethan Carter, James Storm against El Hijo de Fantasma, Pagano, and Tejano. So who do you think is going to win that one?
I'm thinking Team AAA. I just don't know. I think they're going to implode Team Impact. Just, there's a little bit of dissension there. They made up, Cowboy James Storm and EC3 seem to be on the same page, so to speak. There's a bit of ego on that team. Of course, Eddie Edwards is the Pro Wrestling Noah, GHC champion.
Yep.
So, everybody's kind of in a different world there where, Team AAA have a lot of experience in Mexico, teaming up, so to speak. So I'm probably going to go Team AAA here. How about yourself?
No, I'm Team Impact's not going to lose to Team AAA. It's Bound for Glory. It's the Impact. It's Impact's biggest pay-per-view of the year. I'm going to go with Team Impact. I don't know if you've been following the build for this, but again, for this, the build has been terrible as well. I don't know if you've seen the last few weeks, but they had I guess they've had the matches in Mexico for the AAA promotion. Tejano and Fantasma, I guess they're bitter rivals in the AAA promotion, and when they had the tag team match, which was Carter and Storm against Fantasma and Tejano. Tejano and Fantasma were fighting with each other. So I mean, if they can't get along.
Wow.
So I don't. If they can't get along with each other, where's the interest? They're not united for Team AAA, and as Team Impact is kind of not united either because of Carter and Storm. So the interest level there for me, is not so great. I mean, but I still think Team Impact is going to win. I think
first, basically.
Yeah, I think which team will implode first? Pagano, we haven't seen Pagano in a few weeks either, so I don't know. They just threw him in there. I don't know, but anyway, Rosemary against Taya Valkyrie in the Red Wedding match. I guess that means it's the first blood match. That's going to be phenomenal. That's a match that I'm really looking forward to. I'm going
Taya
with.
Valkyrie.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. What do you think of Taya Valkyrie? I mean, she's got a lot of international experience, a native from British Columbia, Canada. And, she's very, solid in the ring. Yeah. And, of course, the very unorthodox Rosemary. Probably seems like she'd be a reincarnation for the Wyatt family. But, it's going to be an interesting match. I'm going to have to go with Taya Valkyrie for sure. And, Rosemary may get a wrestling lesson here. What do you think, Lewis?
Oh, it's a tough one. They had the match. That was last week with Taya Valkyrie won. She won the match. Since it's the first blood match, and I think just the person doesn't need to be pinned or submitted. I think Valkyrie's going to bleed first. I think they're going to give this one to Rosemary, but I wouldn't be shocked if Taya Valkyrie winds up winning. But if I have to pick one, I have to disagree. I got to go with Rosemary. I got to go with Rosemary here.
Yeah. We're disagreeing a lot here, Lewis. Man, we're not like
we've only disagreed twice.
Exactly.
We've only disagreed twice, so we have a few more matches to go. They have the Monsters Ball match with Abyss against Grado. I personally could care less who wins this match, I'm gonna say somehow Grado's gonna win, and his work visa is not going to be terminated. And he's going to be able to stay in the U.S. I'm trying to think that. I don't know someone's going to interfere here. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Grado. Hopefully it's a very quick match. Cause again, I'm not really interested, but, who do you think is going to win in this one?
Maybe we see the return of Congo Kong, the babyface, and he jumps Abyss and helps Grado win.
It could be that or knowing Impact Wrestling, it's probably going to be, Mahabali Shira, who nobody cares about, is going to run in and help Grado stay in the country. So maybe Markus Burke. Maybe Markus Burke will show up.
Vegan Warrior.
he'll come in with his with the vegan warrior will come in. No, but seriously, it's going to be it could be Kong, but I don't see how they would how unless you bring Tyrus back somehow, because he was the people they were, I forgot what his title was, but they were paying him money to take care of their problems. Oh, the Fixer. He was the Fixer. So maybe Tyrus will come back, but someone's going to interfere here and help Grado win.
Yeah. It's got to be basically he needs help to beat Abyss for sure. And he's definitely not going to do
unless Grado has asked for his release also, and this is his last match, and he loses to Abyss, and he winds up leaving. It would be interesting if he loses this match because he loses his match because he wants to be released, and his work visa is terminated, and he must leave the U.S. But then he shows up in Ring of Honor or something, or NXT. So
that's a possibility too.
Yeah. So this whole work visa thing being terminated will be meaningless. It's a stupid angle anyway. If he loses his work visa, will be terminated and he must leave the U.S. Stupid angle.
Do we see?
Who cares?
See James Mitchell here as well?
What's that?
You think we'll see James Mitchell here with him as well with Abyss?
Yeah, no. I'm looking at the match. It says Abyss with James Mitchell. So James Mitchell he's supposed to be there with Abyss. So unless James Mitchell turns on Abyss, so whatever. Hopefully that'll be the first match and it'll be quick. And then actually from there we have the 6 Sides of Steel with Moose, Stefan Bonner against King Mo and Lashley. I like your idea. I think King Mo and Lashley are going to lose, and Lambert's going to slap Lashley, and Lashley's going to turn on Lambert. I think so. I'm going with Moose and Stefan Bonner.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with that too. Stefan Bonner and Moose. There you go. We
agree on that one. Yeah. So Sienna against Ali and Gail Kim. I'm going. I think they're just going to give the title back to Gail Kim. She's going to win the title back, and then she's going to retire as champion. So I'm going to go with Gail Kim.
I think I'll go with Gail Kim too. Ali, you'd think, I understand Ali's over with the crowd, and she definitely deserves the title. But Gail, being her last Bound for Glory, and being in her hometown, her home country of Canada, not far from Toronto and Ottawa. Yeah, I mean, what better place to have her go out as the champion than Bound for Glory this Sunday? So I'll probably go Gail Kim.
I'm going with Gail Kim, and I'm looking at the matches here on Wikipedia. They've given away a spoiler because it hasn't been officially announced. Should I announce a spoiler here, or should I just not announce a spoiler? But I think most people know what's going to happen anyway, so I think I'm going to go ahead and say it because it says OVE with Sami Callihan versus the Latin American Exchange with Conan in that 51-50 street fight. So it appears Sami Callihan is going to be a part of Bound for Glory. But I think most people knew that anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. I heard the rumblings of Sami Callihan signed with Impact, so that's a good signing.
Yeah, no, it's a good signing. So
I wish he had been used better in NXT, but oh well. But I'm glad he's on a national promotion.
I was originally going to go with Latin American Exchange, but now with Sami Callihan signed, and they're not going to put him on the losing side, I'm going to say OVE is going to retain the title.
Yeah, and of course, we did hear Jeremy Borash say that on Impact this week that they were going to bring family along this Sunday. OVE was, so maybe that's the family he was talking about.
Yeah, so that's Sami Callihan. I know Jake Christ and Sami Callihan, they were a tag team for a while. So, yeah, so should be good. Sami Callihan, and I'm glad. Hope he doesn't do that hacker gimmick that he did for NXT because that was terrible. What was his name in NXT anyway? Dude.
Yeah, it was.
It's okay if you don't remember it. I was just curious.
I'm trying to remember here now. Excuse me for.
That's
trying
okay.
to remember here now.
It's okay.
It's been a while since he's been in NXT.
Okay. Yeah, he's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
Then we have the X Division match: Lee against Xavier versus Garza Jr. versus Matt Sydal versus Petey Williams versus Sanjay Dutt Hold on, I'm out of breath announcing all those names. Give me a second. Okay, there's so many names and so many wrestlers in that match.
Oh, I know.
Who are you picking here? Who are you going to pick here?
I am going to go with. Do they give the title to Petey Williams because he's in Canada? But then again,
no, I don't think.
You have Gail Kim and Petey Williams take the belt just because they're from Canada.
Yeah, no, I don't think Petey Williams is gonna. I think Seidel is going to wind up winning the X Division title. I think he's going to go with Seidel.
Seidel. Right on.
It should be a great match. It should be a good match. It'd be a decent match. A lot of spots, a lot of high spots.
Mm-hmm. No, they'll get everything in, and I think you'll see a lot of cool sequences of the moves and stuff, and a lot of nice setups and stuff that we saw on TV. Yeah. Probably.
I'm going to go with Seidel. I'm going to go with Seidel to win the X Division title. And then we have the main event: definitely. Eli Drake against Johnny Impact. Eli Drake against Johnny Impact. I'm going with Eli Drake. I'm going to say why, because Alberto El Patron is coming back, and I think Alberto El Patron is going to interfere in this match on Eli Drake's behalf and cost Johnny Impact the match. So I know they have the whole about Alberto El Patron. What will he do? I think he's coming back. He's going to interfere in this match and cost Johnny Impact the title, setting up El Patron Johnny Impact feud. So I'm saying Eli Drake's going to retain.
Who would you see? Now I agree. I could see that happening. Where do you see Eli Drake going after Bound for Glory if he retains the title and say you do get Johnny Impact feuding with Alberto El Patron? Would be a good number.
That's a good question. Maybe Bobby Lashley. Maybe Bobby Lashley comes back. Moose possibly. Then you got to think about you have Ethan Carter III, EC3, possibly Eddie Edwards could be an opponent. So there's a lot of potential out there. A lot of potential out there for maybe Grado will win. Maybe Grado will be the next opponent for EC3. No, absolutely not. I'm glad you said that. No, it's not going to be the next. It'll be. I would say Bobby Lashley. I say Bobby Lashley or Moose will probably be the next opponent for Eli Drake.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley would be a good opponent. He definitely deserves, a shot at the world title, the global title. Is it the Impact Wrestling Global title now?
It's the Impact Wrestling Global. I don't know what they're going to be calling it after Bound for Glory, so it might just be the Impact title. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be calling it. So, but anyway, I'm thinking. Because remember we had Eli Drake talking to Conan, and Conan said he's coming for that title. So I wonder if they're gonna bring somebody in to Latin American Exchange to challenge Eli Drake, because they did say they're coming for the title. So, but there's a lot of possibilities out there for Eli Drake. But nonetheless, I'm picking Eli Drake to win the title, to retain the title, I should say.
Do you think Alberto will actually eventually now join LAX, do you think? Maybe he ends up feuding with Eli Drake.
That's another possibility. If he doesn't interfere in that match, that's another possibility. He could come back saying that he's upset with Impact Wrestling and wind up joining the Latin American Exchange and actually cost Ohio versus everything the tag team titles, even with Sami Callihan there. So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what he's going to do.
I'd even like to see a feud between Alberto and Sami Callihan too.
Yeah, no, that would be good as well. That would be really good. So for all those people out there who think that Impact Wrestling is on the way out, there's a lot of, they're not going anywhere. There's a lot of possibilities out there. A lot of good matchups available in Impact Wrestling. So, and a lot of guys coming in. So. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think we're done. We think we got everything, man. Do you have anything you want to plug? Do you want to plug anything before you go?
Just if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter at PWPitstopJ. And, of course, Nick Whitworth, my co-host on the Pro Wrestling Pit Stop. He's at PW Pitstop Nick. And, of course, our podcast, the Pro Wrestling Pit Stop, which we hope to have Lewis back on again. the guest host.
Yeah,
and of course, you can follow us on Twitter.
All you have to do is ask, man. Just ask, and I'll come back on.
Not a problem, man.
All you gotta do is ask.
At the PW Pit Stop, folks. If you want to like us, if you want to follow us on Twitter, at the PW Pit Stop. As well, you can search us up on Facebook as well. We have a Facebook group, Pro Wrestling Pit Stop. Just if you want to come on board, you want to share wrestling videos, create some posts, just have a debate, conversation with other group members. Yeah, or search us up, the Pro Wrestling Pit Stop on Facebook. And yeah, it's awesome. I had a ball here tonight. Lewis, thank you as always, for
hey, it was
asking
my pleasure.
me to come on board.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. I just want to say also on Twitter, if you want to follow Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, it's at Tapped Out Pod on Twitter, and follow me on Twitter at PWSOTH, and you can follow the podcast on Twitter at PW Personified, and we're on Facebook as well. So, Jay, man, we've been going on for a while, man. It's been an absolute blast. Glad you're able to come on. I just want to thank you, and hopefully we could do this again soon someday, my buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. I'd love to come back on, man. It's always a blast. Me and you get chatting about the world of professional wrestling. We go way back to the 2014, folks. Anybody that doesn't know me and Lewis's history together, so it was great when we get on board, we get on the air. It's always an interesting chat. You never know what you're going to hear from the combination of both of us.
There you go.
Thanks
there you go. Hey, my pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on. Anyway, so this has been the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Impact Wrestling Edition. I am your host, Lewis Carlin. Once again, I want to thank my guest co-host, Jay Llewellyn. And until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.